Wow, stories.
My fiancé hid money and planned to leave me and our daughter. So I took him to court and secured full custody plus child support. This could be a long post because I have a lot on my chest and no one to talk to. I'm wondering how other people handle having no money, among other things. I, 37-year-old female, live with my significant other fiancé, 50-year-old male, and we have a 19-month-old daughter. Before him, I was very independent. I lived alone, had no children, and was financially stable. I struggled during my studies as a medical assistant, but overall came out well with a job giving infection 19 vaccines during the pandemic. Towards the end of the pandemic, my fiancé and I got together, and I got unexpectedly pregnant within a couple months. He proposed at our baby shower, and I moved in with him. He has a good job and makes about $160,000 a year. He pays all the bills and supports our child well. The problem that keeps coming up is that I am never allowed to have my own money. Obviously, at the time, I had not been able to work because of our child. There is a shortage of childcare in Ontario, so using daycare to work was not an option for me. The only family I have around us who can care for her would be his 71-year-old mother. He works underground in the mines and is usually gone for 3 weeks at a time. He usually leaves me with no money, which means if I need anything, I would have to text him the night before to ask him to send me money for the next day. Then, when he does, it would be a specific amount to cover exactly what it is that I need. If I happen to deviate from the list, it causes a huge fight and makes it harder to get money for the next time without more questions asked. He claims me in taxes, so I also do not receive any GST or anything like that. Additionally, he makes too much money for me to receive Canadian child tax benefits. If he does give me money for anything for myself, it always somehow gets used against me as a point of, you say I don't buy you things, but what about this or this? For example, I wanted to get a tattoo, and I was going to use my income tax return. But he ended up getting it because he claimed me. He did give it to me in the end, but under the impression that it was his money and he was doing me a favor. If I spent it on anything aside from what it was meant for, he would not give me more. Over the last few months, he has been working less due to a lack of work. I would like to preface this by saying that I know he works hard for his money, but he is constantly telling me we are short on funds and that I am not allowed to spend anything because he knows I'll buy more than what I say I will. I know he is allowed to spend his own funds however he wants, but it's frustrating that he buys expensive things like a $7,000 car trailer or a $10,000 motorhome last summer. He even took out a $20,000 loan to buy used old cars and then spends money on parts for the car. But then yells at me in front of people, making me cry, for spending $200 on groceries because you said you were only spending $70. Anyway, because he seems to be off for a month at a time, I decided to find a job. I was hired at a school board as an educational assistant, which is perfect because I can choose the days I'm available to work. And while he is home, he can take care of our child. I have only received one paycheck so far, which I spent on groceries, and I bought one bottle of alcohol, as well as paid back money I owed my dad. I have another paycheck coming, but it isn't until May 15th, and today I needed to buy shirts for work. He surprisingly asked if I needed money. I said no, I would borrow from Dad and pay it back. It saves a fight. And he handed me $200 anyway, which I shouldn't have taken because this post is the result. With the money, he said to buy things for pasta salad, whatever our daughter wanted for a toy, and shirts. I went and bought 2 shirts, but I also bought 2 pairs of pants. I bought salad kits for myself, for work lunches, garbage bags, pajama pants, because he gets mad if I wear his, and the stuff for his pasta salad. I never ended up buying her a toy because I knew I wouldn't have enough. And she has a ton anyway. I came home and it was the end of the world because I had bought pants. If I hadn't bought myself pants, then I would have had enough for a toy. And it isn't just that he is mad, it's how he talks to me. Like, I'm stupid for doing something as dumb as buying something I needed without having permission. So then I borrowed money from my dad to buy a toy for her, in which I will pay back. But then he loses his mind, because that isn't good enough. Still, I just shouldn't have done wrong to begin with. He says that my paychecks will be gone to my dad before I even get them because I borrow money for things. I say if I wasn't afraid to ask him, then I wouldn't have that problem to start with. Then he starts saying things like how I spend money on alcohol and insinuating I'm an alcoholic, all while he is a smoker, etc. I am not an alcoholic, by the way. Everything that goes wrong is always my fault. He always has something to say about what I do wrong, but never anything I do well or how I'm a good mother. He makes me feel like I am a child who can't be left alone to make my own decisions, even concerning his proposal. Like why? I have given up any kind of wedding planning because he thinks I want a huge, expensive dress and expensive hair and makeup. I suggested going to Cuba or even town hall, and that's a hell no. But then, if someone else suggests it, it's a great idea. I feel there is so much more, but I know not everyone wants to read a long post, so I can answer questions as they come. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Unexpected pregnancy. He intentionally got you pregnant 100%. He trapped you. Now you're a stay-at-home mom who has to follow all of his whims and are far from being the independent, proud, and strong person you used to be. Comment 2. Find childcare as soon as possible. Get on as many wait lists as you can and get back to work. This is complete financial abuse. Do not marry this man. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around to hear more of my story. So, after I borrowed money from my dad to buy our daughter a toy, things went from bad to worse. My fiancé started accusing me of being irresponsible and wasteful. He was always controlling, but now he was tracking every penny I spent. I felt like I was suffocating. Then, out of nowhere, my fiancé's best friend, who's been like an uncle to our daughter, came to me with a confession. He'd been helping my fiancé hide money. A lot of it. Turns out, the lack of work was a lie. My fiancé had been stashing cash away for a rainy day, but really he was planning to leave me and take our daughter with him. His friend couldn't keep the secret anymore. Seeing how it was tearing me apart, I was devastated. Betrayed by the man I was supposed to marry, and by someone I considered family. But I wasn't going to let this slide. I took action. I gathered evidence of the hidden funds and went to a lawyer. It was a messy fight, but I managed to secure a court order freezing his assets. He couldn't touch the money he'd hidden, and I got enough financial support to move out and start fresh. But the drama didn't end there. My fiancé tried to turn the tables on me, spreading rumors that I was the one who had been unfaithful and that I was trying to take his money. He didn't expect me to fight back as hard as I did. I had messages, bank statements, and his friend's testimony. It was a long, ugly battle, but in the end, the truth came out. I got full custody of our daughter, and with the financial support, I was able to go back to school to further my education. I wanted to be more than just a medical assistant. I wanted to be independent again, for my daughter and for myself. As for my fiancé, he lost a lot of friends when they found out what he'd done. His reputation took a hit, and so did his pride. He tried to apologize to win me back, but I was done. I focused on my daughter and my career, and I've never looked back.